thought they did too, but it wasn't
Okay,
on the list.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. So, the first meeting for tonight will be our special council meeting. And for tonight, we have regrets from Councillor Ross. You've got the agenda before you. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
A seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. The first item for business is the approval of the CAO employment contract as was presented to council.
I move approval of the CEO contract effective January 2nd, 2020.
Seconder. Okay, and that'll mean that it gives me authorization to sign the contract on behalf of the municipality.
Right on.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Congratulations, man. There you go, Jeff. You go on with it. This doesn't work out, you come down along and go paranoid.
And I just want to note too that that's effective January the 2nd, 2020. So you can congratulate him then.
No, I'm happy, yes. Well, I'm happy nonetheless.
The second thing on the agenda for the special council meeting was to review the manager of municipal services job description. You've had a chance to review that in your package. Is there any questions for staff pertaining to the job description? Do you have any questions with the job description for the manager's position? I have a motion to approve the job description.
So,
Second. All in favor? Aye, approved.
Okay. The sound is not here.
Can you turn on the microphone, please?
I'll speak in it louder.
Thank you.
some of us are really loud and some of us are quite quiet.
No, I had a little bit of hearing problem.
There's no in-camera, I don't believe, for this meeting. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Third.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.
That was. Wow.
2 items. Now we're going to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Once again, Councillor Ross is not in attendance for tonight's meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask you to pause to seek guidance. You've got the agenda before you. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I'll move acceptance of the agenda.
There's a seconder.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Delegations for tonight. The first delegation is Nina Barnaby.
I just want to apologize to who's ever speaking if I disappear out of the room, okay? I'm not feeling well. It came on about an hour or so ago. So I just want, there's nothing worse than speaking when someone walks out.
Yeah, well,
like,
yeah.
no, I'm gonna.
You have to feel bad about leaving.
Linda, don't kill yourself. I know you prefer to, rather than show weakness, but probably mention that.
Okay, the first presentation is Nina Barnaby from Nova Scotia Community College, the Design Thinking Challenge. So, Nina, the floor is, can I have a motion for Nina to come forward?
So,
All in favor? Floor is yours, Nina.
Would you prefer I stand or sit?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm going to hand out your approval.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Good night, or good night. Speaks to my kind of day. Good evening, Warden and members of council. You want to just put your mic a little closer. Sorry. Is that better?
He can't hear you.
Is that better? My name is Nina Barnaby, and I am here this evening representing both NSCC Digby Learning Center and the Tri-County Sandbox Makerspace. I will be seeking support for an upcoming community initiative, but first I would like to give you a bit of background information. The NSCC Digby Learning Center currently offers 5 post-secondary programs and various continuing education courses. They include the Adult Learning Program, which is designed for learners to gain their adult high school diploma, Business Administration, which is a 2-year program, Continuing Care Assistant, Early Childhood Education, and this is new for the 2019-2020 academic year, Office Administration, which is a 1-year, and various courses and programs within the schools of fisheries as needed. If you'll notice, our average enrollment per year since we've opened the new center has been 50+ students. Customized training options are available to businesses, and we will be having the Tri-County Sandbox and Makerspace on site. If you're looking at the programs listed, all but Adult Learning Program and Continuing Care Assistant and the School of Fisheries are offered through our Collaborative Learning Center. So there's actually not a faculty on site regularly. They do it through a video conference format. So the Tri-County Sandbox, this is a relatively new initiative. We've been about a year in the planning process. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Sandbox initiatives across the province, but we are part of the Pan-Provincial Nova Scotia Sandbox Initiative. These are hosted by post-secondary institution sandboxes, offering physical spaces where learners can engage in activities designed to build and support creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial skill sets. All of these are highly regarded and in demand in today's work environment. So there's a short video that I would like to show, and I'm not sure if it's going to come up this way or if we can. This will explain a little bit further of the Sandbox initiative. This video was Sandbox provincially as a marketing tool.
Look ahead. Startups, research labs, corporations, industry, government, community organizations, family businesses. They are all searching for the same valuable set of skills: an ability to work productively on teams, to communicate effectively with stakeholders, to build powerful networks, to engage in creative and human-centered approaches to problem solving. Located on campuses across the province, the Nova Scotia Sandboxes are the place for university and college students to develop and grow the capacity to innovate and create. Encouraging experimentation, cultivating curiosity, and developing design-oriented problem solving through a broad range of extracurricular programs, and aided by an accessible and knowledgeable staff, Nova Scotia Sandboxes are ideal for building what you need to meet the challenges of the real world.
And if you'll notice if you had noticed on the map, the locations, Tri-County Sandbox actually has 4 locations: Digby in partnership with St. Anne, so we have one at Church Point, Yarmouth at Burridge Campus, and Shelburne. Each of the 4 locations, there you go, thank you, will not only have the technology and equipment for a makerspace, but it will also have the physical space so we can offer a variety of activities and events. One of such events is our upcoming Digby and Doctors Design Challenge. Next slide, thank you. So acknowledging the issues regarding doctor recruitment and retention, we've invited facilitators from the Acadia Entrepreneurship Center to deliver a 2-day design challenge using human design theory. It's our goal to engage up to 40 participants from various groups within the Digby area to identify and explore innovative solutions to our challenge question. And what we'll be doing is actually going through a series of activities once we have given them the design challenge, which is how do we attract and retain healthcare workers to the Digby area. So they'll spend 2 days looking at solutions. Design thinking is really around, we can go to the next slide. Design thinking theory uses an empathetic approach, so you give them as much information as possible at the very beginning of what the challenge or problem is. We get them to have interviews and talk to people and look at every possible perspective of that problem. It encourages, facilitators will guide participants through a series of activities and encourage participants to work collaboratively towards a common goal, engage in creative thinking, give and receive constructive feedback while building communication and engagement skills. The workshop will conclude with each team presenting their innovative idea to a panel of judges chosen from the local area. Ideas will then be gathered and shared with stakeholders, with some of the committees currently working on this problem.
Whose idea was this? Is this something they're doing across the province, or is this something unique to right here?
This particular challenge, so I'm not sure if you've seen, Ignite Labs has been offering the mini challenges, and one of the main events that the Pan-Provincial Sandbox group of managers put on is a 2-week design thinking boot camp at Acadia, and this year was the 3rd year. We had 114 post-secondary participants. So they have challenges. Last year it was around it was around recycling and sustainability, and the challenge this year was around the new Canada Food Guide. So they spent 2 weeks doing it. These are little mini challenges using that same theory. Yeah, it's really impressive the way that you're brought through the whole design thinking theory.
Did you say it has to be post-secondary or in high school?
Well, for this particular challenge, we have 40 participants that we're inviting to come. We're looking at approximately 20 post-secondary students, either current or alumni, and then we're looking at engaging or inviting also the high school students and community as a whole, plus my invitation is for council members to attend to. So 40 is a lot of minds and a lot of activity, and it's a really high energy event. So this kind of brings me to my request to council. I'm requesting a participation by some of you. We're looking at 6 seats in total for both town and municipal council members. Our fee for this 2-day event is $200. It does include your lunch. And we're looking for funding support for registration sponsorship to support high school students and or community participation. And it would be the same amount. And we're having a maximum of 20 seats in that category. So that concludes my presentation.
Any questions?
What date are you thinking for this?
October 8th and 9th.
Probably right there.
Originally we thought we would be hosting it at the Digby Learning Center, but this amount of people, and because we will have classes, our programs will have started, we're looking at an alternative, and I'm in negotiation right now about the space.
Are you inviting specific people? Is that the idea, or just the people that are interested? Because I was just thinking about FCDAs and doing a lot of interesting things there now.
FCDA?
The Freeport Development Center folks.
We're not limiting it. Who's attending. The only request that I'm having is that if we can have council members there, and also the current committees that are working on this project right now. I believe there's 3 altogether, I think. There's Weymouth, but there's the one that Tony Kelly heads up, and then there's the one that Ben is in. So we're hoping that they're involved in some way, either participant or as our empathy builders. So what happens at the very beginning, you go through a lot of team building stuff, and then you also, which is a very short time in the morning, and then we bring people in to kind of give you the perspectives. So we give lots of information to the people, and it's interesting, the facilitators at Acadia, because they're used to doing this work on different scale, I said there's not one person in that room that won't be empathetic to this challenge, because we all live this reality in our area. So it was interesting from their perspective, because of course they're living in an area where doctors are available and not here. So, yeah.
You talk about the challenges. This area, the only one doing the doctors or the sheltering at the same time.
Yes, no, this one, we had wanted to do a design challenge because that's part of our mandate for the Tri-County Sandbox. And because it's something that it really just started out as a half-day challenge. And when we started talking about the possible questions that we could put to our students and our participants, it became very obvious. And because this is also my reality, right? So it evolved into a 2-day because we really didn't think that it would do a really good job doing a 1-day workshop on this, I think we can get much broader ideas and more innovative ideas over a 2-day process.
Wow, this is awesome. This is really interesting.
It can be duplicated anywhere, and so we're looking at those possibilities too. All right.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Nina? I know you've been in there. I meant through the side thing that you wanted to ask.
My only question is, when you mentioned, after the 2 days, you sort of conclude winners through the community. How would you do that? And if you've answered it, I apologize.
No, that's fine. Most design challenges, because you want to kind of celebrate, you want to give the teams an opportunity to share what they've worked on. So they will do a presentation of their idea, and there's usually just a small group of judges, maybe 2 or 3 people, who will just say, and you're judged on participation and our presentation skills and innovativeness and all those types of pieces, but all solutions will be shared with the stakeholders, anybody who wants to do this. Because in a perfect world, we would love to be able to say, we held a 2-day design challenge, there was 1 or 2 or more solutions to a current problem that were actually implemented.
I'll ask the villages and the community groups too, maybe that they could pay for something to set someone up for the village to check it out.
Right. That would be great.
Would I get in touch with you personally?
Yes. Yeah. If you contact me, right now we're in the process of setting up a registration with our admin where you would actually just call. But in the college, we actually have to have a lot of background stuff before that can happen. So we're looking at that. So right now I can take the names, and then once we're in the process where we can take payment, then we'll contact people.
All right, I'll take this where I'm asking a few people.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a presentation by Christina Gillis, Digby Pride volunteer, and can I have a motion for Christina to come forward?
So moved. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nina?
Thank you.
Good evening, Digby. My name is Christina Giles, and this is a former student and community member, Miranda Perry, and she's come here to help support, and she's also going to be volunteering with LGBTQ Drop-In Center. So, as you know, the LGBTQ community has had some huge challenges throughout the world, and rural Nova Scotia, it seems to be a big problem here. These are some statistics that I found from their Canadian statistics. 33% of LGBTQ youth have attempted suicide in Canada. Over half of LGBTQ youth have contemplated suicide. Youth who have been rejected by their families are 8 times more likely to attempt suicide. Bisexual and trans people are overrepresented among low-income Canadians. Hate crimes motivated by sexual orientation are the most violent. Trans people report high levels of violence, harassment, discrimination when seeking sustainable housing, employment, health, or social services. And some research suggests that the use of alcohol, tobacco, and other substances may be 2 to 4 times higher among LGBTQ youth than heterosexual people. These stats are very, they're scary, they're sad, and these are our youth right here in Digby. These are the kids that are going to school, and they're feeling very isolated. They feel these are high because they feel that they can't be themselves in their own community. While putting together this presentation, I also looked up some positive statistics for you. According to the World Health Organization, I have the link on your page, but it's pretty lengthy, but it basically states that the World Organization says that when a youth is involved and feel a part of their community, their mental health issues are either reduced or they are non-existent because they feel stronger and they feel supported. So just taking part in their community can reduce or prevent mental health disorders. There's also some more good news. According to the University of British Columbia, and this is a new study that just came out, having a gay-straight alliance, it's changed its name a little bit. In Nova Scotia, we call it the Gender and Sexuality Alliance or Association, and reduce the suicide risk for all students, not just LGBTQ youth. So heterosexual males, their rate of suicide is reduced when there's a gay-straight alliance in their school, just because they're feeling they're a part of the community. So in Digby, there are no community centers for youth outside of churches. And many churches are not accepting of LGBTQ youth. So when an LGBTQ youth goes to a youth group, they don't feel that they can be themselves there. And therefore, I believe that it is in our best interest to support LGBTQ youth in Digby and help this demographic feel a sense of community. So how can we help these youth? Myself and Miranda, and I'm hoping to recruit a few more volunteers, in association with SHIFT, Tri-County Women's Center, Schools Plus, and I have had some communication with the Digby Area Learning Association. We've been working on having monthly youth drop-in centers for LGBTQ youth and their allies. So what we envision is we're going to have youth come once a month and just hang out. We'll have some activities, we'll have some food. Teenagers can just be teenagers, we'll have some fun. But our volunteers are going to be trained, and this is where we're going to be a little bit sneaky about this. All of our volunteers are going to have their mental health first aid training done, and we're also going to be very aware of how to help youth self-advocate for themselves and feel self-refer to our mental health here in Digby. And our mental health here in Digby is very strong. In the hospital, we have a very good clinicians working there that can support our youth. We also have SHIFT on board, so if home is not safe, we can have our volunteers help the student call SHIFT and ask for help. If school's an issue, we can help the student go and talk to teachers and be their ally. We can be their friend and take them to school and talk to the teacher or to administration to make sure that students are not being bullied in school and they feel safe in school. Our volunteers will have our youth that are coming to our meetings, their best interests in mind, and we can help them navigate the system. Because when you're a teenager and when you're hurting, they're not thinking straight. They're not trying to find the help that they need, and we can be there for them and be that voice for them to help them find the help they need. In Digby, we have a lot of resources, but when you are a 14-year-old kid, you might not realize it. So that would be our job to help these youth. So the drop-in center, we want to keep records of the youth's demographics, so the preferred name and pronoun, but we also will keep their name and pronoun used by school, by home, and their legal name and pronoun, so that we'll have that information if there's any issues. We want to keep this away from the school setting because in school we have to have permission forms filled out, but if it's just a drop-in center, youth can just show up. The Schools Plus has offered their space for us free of charge, so we have that. In the future, we're hoping in the new year, that we can expand this so we can have a satellite meeting in both Weymouth and on the islands, because in rural Nova Scotia, transportation is a challenge, especially if you're under 16 and can't drive. And then you have to ask your parents. If home is not safe, that's an issue. For communication, at this point in time, we have Facebook, we have a website and email. If we can recruit volunteers who are better at social media, we will expand on that. So this is where I need to move into some of the money things for what you guys can help me with. On the reverse of your page, so we need to start this. We need to get this off the ground. And to start something brand new, it is expensive. But what I'm looking for is some help to help offset some of this price. So we want to have business cards and we want to have the print small so that they can see our email and our phone number and our when it's close to, but it's not going to oat kids without them wanting to be outed. So we need to get business cards and some posters and some mental health first aid training. That's the priority for payment. Everything else, the additional training, food for 5 months, a cell phone, tablet, miscellaneous costs, that can come later, and we are looking for funding in other areas. The total startup cost I'm estimating to be $3,107. However, if you as a council are able to support us with $1,000, that will be enough to at least get us to September and October, and I'm going to start applying for Healthy Communities funding grants that come later on. As you're aware, your own budget said that your own budget had certain visions. And the first is to build a strong and vibrant community by attracting, supporting, and maintaining businesses and residences. If your LGBTQ youth do not feel safe, they're going to leave as soon as they can. And I have family members who have left rural communities in Nova Scotia to go to Toronto before they said that I'm gay, because it's safer. The second is to build social capital and engage citizens and partners to improve the diversity in the community. Having a drop-in center for youth will allow students to have a place where they feel safe and be who they are, be the diversity, and start to feel safe being diverse. So if you are interested in helping support us, that would be fantastic, and we can start getting this started even mid-September and having our first drop-in this year. It'd be exciting. I'm really excited about this, and I know Miranda is very excited as well. Do you have any questions?
This is way overdue, and I was recently, a few months ago, a couple years ago, I was reading about a community that made efforts towards gay pride, things like that, and they found it to be an economic boom for attracting younger people, and modern society. These are sort of things that usher us into it. I'm really supportive. I'm very happy that you guys are taking us on, and I'd like to help you, just be myself, separate things. Yeah, great job, wonderful.
Thank you.
Council Manager, do you have any questions?
Schools Plus, is there space provided in the school?
Yes, it's a space in the school, but we want to not be under the umbrella of the school just because of the insurance policies. And privacy, yes, exactly. We want to make sure that that if a youth wants to be out, they have that choice. It's not my choice to make, it's theirs. So.
Other locations have a school, so it's thinking sometimes the students don't have a good relationship with the school. They may not want to go there just because it's a school. It's
true, but we're looking at meeting between 5:30 and 8:30, so most of the teachers will be gone. So it's just, at that point, it's a building. I understand that sometimes there's adverse feelings about a building, but hopefully this is one thing that can start to bring some positivity back into the space. Yeah. I'm just going there because
Have you talked to the Valley Youth Project?
Valley Youth, no, not yet, but we're looking at additional training for our volunteers because...
I have a friend that does training.
Okay, perfect.
Actually, maybe I might be able to... Okay. Actually, I'll get in touch with you. I does this all the time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
We'll take your request in consideration, but there won't be a decision made until September the 9th at our next meeting.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
one question.
Okay.
I'll let you finish. My question is probably, I just didn't understand. You said if a youth went to your center, you would take their name and their pronoun,
Yeah,
which I didn't understand.
okay.
What's their legal name
Okay.
and pronoun?
Okay, perfect. So for a trans person, they might have been, some people prefer they, some people prefer if they're born female and they're transitioning to male, they might prefer he or him. And then so I'll have their preferred, what they want to be called in the group. So if they prefer to be Joe,
Okay.
but their mom knows them as Sally.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so for that, and we want to have their legal information in case of an issue if they get hurt and they are going to the hospital, we can send the legal information, but we also want to make sure that we are supportive of who they are as well.
So when you're saying the pronoun, it just means he, she, or they?
Yeah, yeah,
And their legal name?
yeah, just,
If I went by Linda, but if I went to your place, I couldn't call me Lenny.
yeah, exactly. And I know schools are the same thing with nicknames and stuff. They use a nickname for certain things, but for legal documents, they need to use legal names and stuff.
I just had to ask because I wasn't sure.
Mhm. No problem. Thank you.
so much.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of June the 10th. Seconder? All in favor? Is there any unfinished business from the minutes of June the 10th that anybody wants to raise? None? Okay. Next is the CAO report. You said the meeting dates and reminders. Deputy Warden, I need to have you chair September the 9th. If you can. I've got a medical appointment. Is there any issues for anybody else with any of the dates? You've got the CAO update. Is there any questions regarding the CAO update?
Can I ask you that question? Because I just got this afternoon. But when I asked about the TIR in that meeting, about what was said, do we have any update from him as yet? Because it was in the paper or on the news as well.
I reached out to the MLA, and he reached out to the staff that were at that meeting, and they are going to look into why we weren't consulted at the time.
Okay, but the reason I was getting called was because I'm chair of the because I'm chair of 101. And that's what I was told. And then after it came out on the news,
What happened to
Courier
this?
News?
I missed it.
they were asking the same thing. Why would we have turned it down?
Oh.
So that's my concern. Is that still out there and it was put in the paper? The same thing.
So, as I said, Tony Harvey is investigating why we weren't. His indication was that it was stated we may have been asked. There was never any, in all the 101 highway meetings that we had, or all the TIR meetings that we had quarterly, there was never any discussion anywhere about potential sidewalks or crosswalks. So
We remember that.
I think the issue will be on the agenda when we next meet with
Okay, that's what-
transportation on the
it's just-
15th, and we can get directly from him what happened.
Okay, because people, I said we didn't, but I want to sort of like
Retract
they're saying, yeah, actually.
Yeah, there was, we made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. Some paragraphs. Oh, the
Okay, no, I wasn't sure
Rush to do
this
that.
place, and I apologize.
No, that's
Thank you.
So is there any other questions pertaining to the CA report? Okay, the next is the department reports. Are there any questions pertaining to the department reports that were in the package?
Nope.
None? Next thing on the agenda is dangerous on the site premises. Order to demolish 300 Clothing Road, and this time I'll ask that Alfred, you come
This one we had,
forward.
we had a long time ago. About 6, 7 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, be part of the presentation.
Yeah, no, I will go over, I'm co-owner of 300 Clover.
Yeah, but after, you can come up and speak after, but Alfred's going to do his report to council first.
Okay, thank you guys for being able to fit this in, for our committee a whole to fit this in. I guess you've got some pictures, you've got a few, you had this in your in your package concerning this. I guess that's where you're seeing the letter, the first notice I gave to Marjorie and Michael about this meeting. And with some pictures, I think that was included in it. A few. I didn't get too many pictures that day. I wasn't allowed on the property after, so I couldn't go in too many, but there's some of kind of what we're looking at.
Is that a hole in the top part?
Yeah, that's the back of the wall out, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Mr. Wood? What do you mean you weren't allowed on the property?
Well, once I presented this and it was read, and I asked if I could take a few pictures, and I was told I wasn't allowed to take any more pictures. I could have, went on and said, well, I'm allowed to take them, but I didn't want to escalate the situation any more than what it was at the time.
Right.
So that's what I meant by that. Okay. So that's a few that I was able to take without being on their property, and from the front. I would have liked to have been able to go inside, and probably will still, to find out what's been done. But anyway, I guess on the other part that you have is just it's a short, I guess a history, I guess, if some of you remember back in 2012 on this property, there was some concern and condition of building and the future use as a home. The homeowners were granted some time to complete some repairs before a certain time. These items were completed, but since those items were done, no construction or anything has occurred since the May 2012. I believe they were done in November of that year, 2012. So, in May of 2016, I received another complaint concerning the property and the amount of garbage and debris located all over the front and backyards. I've been numerous times with Waste Check in response to garbage complaints. I've also been there with Nova Scotia Department of Environment on complaint about sewage discharge from camper located beside the house. I have had residents in my office complaining about the condition of the house and the property every year, which brings me, I guess, to the latest complaint that I received June of this year, 2019. So what I found was the property has a camper located beside the existing house, which has no connection to sewage or water. There is a stovepipe sticking outside, which probably heats the home or the camper. The area around the camper along the front and backyard was littered with garbage and debris. The house today has exterior bracing, as you've noticed, in the front, and the sheeting on the back part of the house has deteriorated and is gone. As you can also see, it does have a brace in the back, I suspect holding something in the back. The last time I was in the house, back in 2012, around that time, there were no floors in the house and it was completely gutted. It looks, from what I can see, very little has been done in progress since 2012 remedy order was completed. The house, in my opinion, is not suitable to live in, and the camper located outside was never designed or built for a year-round residence. And with the installation of a metal stovepipe into the camper, this will increase the risk of fire. With no adequate sewer system or running water, would not make the camper or existing house a healthy or safe environment for anybody to live in. And with that, I guess while I'm here, I would ask that the committee make a motion to have the camper removed and the house be demolished, along with a complete cleanup of all junk, debris, and garbage located over the entire property. Any questions?
Any questions for Alfred? No question? Michael, you now have a chance to talk to us about the condition of the home and what you want to say.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say that we've taken care of the camper thing. It is fully self-contained. It has sewer, water, propane, and yes, installed extra heat for the winter, which completely has metal surrounding all the way around it. And here are some of the receipts for having the camper sewer system sucked out. You can call Jacqueline Cook on that yourself. That's already been taken care of. As far as the house goes, Alfred, you know darn well that you worked with me for 3 years on that house, and everything that you asked for, I went above and beyond the call of it, so my house would not fall over and I wouldn't have to have someone else come fix it. That being said, I got some pictures of the lawn for you and everything that I cleaned up there, but in the middle of last week, or the end of last week, I went to Alfred and I said to him, from my lawyer, he asked for this information, we would like the specific sections of laws, regulations, or bylaws that authorize the town to move in on the demolition of your home. All inspection reports and an up-to-date list of the town's concerns and reasons for removing or demolishing the home, which at that time Alfred had just sent one letter saying that there's a meeting to be demolished or what have you. We did not receive any other reports or concerns that people might have, which I'm told by my lawyer Kyle Williams at Waterbury Newton that you should have provided us with all information, even from the 2012 incident, and you never provided enough information for him to understand or make a case, and that we had, at that time in 2012, taken care of all concerns, which was make the house look pretty and safe for the public, which contained, was not limited to, put some house wrap around the house, cut the roof off and rebuild the roof, and put some foam on the outside of the house to make it look pretty and safe for the public. I did all this with Alfred's supervision, and at that time, there was problems and concerns about people breaking into the house. So all of the first floor windows and holes on the first floor was top priority. it wouldn't be classed as breaking and entering if someone went in a hole in the side of the house on the first floor, but it would be if they went in a hole on the second floor, because they would purposely, have to get a ladder and climb into the house, which is breaking and entering. So the hole on the top part of the house, I had covered over with some foam and some paper, which I have a picture of inside this that you could see if you wanted. It blew off. It just needed to be covered back over to fill the hole in. It's right there on the ground. And you'll see that everything else is cleaned up around there. But so having done what concerns in 2012 were provided to me, which at that time was those several things I just talked about, over the next few years, I had to take off the foam and everything else and tear out a section of wall and build a section of wall, which I went to Alfred and clearly got what I want to say requirements for building the wall so high, so long, what size it needed to be and everything. And I did the front wall one year, then I did the end wall the next year, and then I did half of the living room floor. So nothing, it's not that nothing had been done since 2012. People couldn't see it from the outside of the building. That's what I had to do. So, my lawyer has advised me that if this continues today, this could be taken to the Supreme Court, and you'll have to go through the process of judicial, no, wait a second, let me get my words right. Sorry about that.
Judicial review?
The judicial review, that's right. This process would have to go to judicial review hearing at the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia, having not provided us with enough information to correctly and properly address any issues or concerns that the municipality has. Now, understand this is a fairly lengthy and costly process, so I would suggest that you adjourn this or adjourn this part of this meeting until we could further get the information required for us to actually be able to address all these concerns properly. And according to my lawyer, all complaints listed should have been supplied to us, not the names of those people, because it would infringe on the Privacy Act, but we should have had a list of all the concerns that come in over every year, not have you, let me see how he put it, not dangle hope in front of me and then yank it away after so many years, saying, no, we're sorry. You've done all of this, put this time and money into this place, and now you can't have it. We're just going to demolish it.
Questions? Any questions pertaining to anything that he brought forward?
So are we supposed to be able to have time to look over what he brought forward? How does this work? Why, we've got there's a bunch of other stuff that came, or how does that go? What's the rules?
The way it goes, dangerous and unsightly. Dangerous and unsightly act.
Don't worry about that part.
Yeah, that's just, I don't spit on it. Yeah, no, the way the Dangerous Unsightly Act works is the administrator, which is me. The administrator gets a complaint. I then take that complaint and I do an assessment of that complaint. If I deem that it's valid in my mind that, yes, it is dangerous and unsightly, I then ask, and this is in the Act, I ask for a meeting with the committee for me to say my piece, I guess, of why I think it's dangerous and unsightly, and which Marjorie, I got a letter saying, this is the meeting tonight, August 12th, where you could come and speak on the behalf of the building herself. That's all this is. It's not, I'm tearing it down. That decision hasn't been made yet. The committee makes that decision. Now, as far as what Mike's lawyer wanted, he got this. Plus, he wanted to know under what I was doing it, and I said under the Building Code Act, Section 15, dangerous and unsightly premises. It's a matter of looking it up. I mean, he's a lawyer. I didn't feel I had to send him the act, but that's what it was. So he didn't know why we were here. And this is just a process. So if that process was to go as demolition, or something has to be done at a certain time, or demolition will occur, that's when that list will be generated of what has to be done before demolition can proceed. Certain time frames will be given, and that's maybe then when lawyers get involved. But this is just all it is, and that's all the lawyer got. That's all I had. I don't go back 2012 because this is 2019 and it's a different case altogether. What I spoke with was just a history of we've been here before, but this is for this time, not that time. So I don't know if they want everything from back in 2012, it doesn't matter to me, but since lawyers are involved now, at least one, I think, ours needs to get involved too. But that's all this is, and that's a decision somebody has to make whether I proceed or not.
So in other words, oh, sorry, Mr. Warden. Go ahead. So we said 90 days, the house has to be livable with everything done, and it's not done, then it's demolished. That is what's being said, right?
Yeah, that can be what needs to be done.
90 days of plus, right?
Yeah, you never use over 90 days anymore. That's a long period. But you are talking.
So we're not going to make a decision on that exact. Do we going to change that, or?
No, that's how you started, David, isn't it?
No, that's
I mean, that's what I'm asking, but you can change that to anything you want.
If it's tabled that the camper isn't illegal, then.
Well, the camper would have to be moved if you're demolishing the hut.
Excuse me, can I say something here? While you're doing all this, where am I gonna live? You got a spare room, Linda? I bet Alfred's got a spare room, he can go to basement. I could live with either one of you.
Maybe Barry would like to have the camper over on his property, just across the
No.
road.
Austin's already asked that, to put a camper there, and Barry said no, he wasn't running a campground.
So with regards to this house, do you feel that you can make this livable within 90 days?
You want me to come up with $100,000 in 90 days and I work for Dean County?
I'm just saying, I'm asking.
$7,500 in I got $7,500 in the west wall, the south wall, and the roof, and half of the living room floor, and it took me 3 years to do that. Now I have, on my front lawn, 36 2x6s and 15 sheets of plywood, which will pretty near finish the back wall on the east side. And the wall facing the camper is completely solid, except for a hole in the wall where I used to have a wood stove, which is now in the camper. And 3 years of my hard, very thin time. Over this period, I've overcome an injury to my arm, which took a summer out of my life, and a neck and shoulder injury that nobody really knows about that took a year out of my life 2 years ago. And I cannot afford to have my money thrown into something, have it yanked away from me like I'm dirt. There are legal rules written outside of written rules that allow us to not get our private rights trampled on. And this is what you guys are doing to me right now. You didn't even care about my lawyer's words. You just pushed that aside, and now you want to just move on. We were not provided with a list of things to do to this house since I stopped in 2015 or 2016.
Right now, we've got an order, a dangerous and unsightly order before us. And looking at the pictures in the, that we've been presented, that indicates a dangerous and unsightly property. You said you've cleaned up some of the garbage. You said you've made the trailer safe to live in. But that still doesn't rectify the issue with the house. Now, this issue with the house started back in 2012, and I appreciate the fact that if you had issues, health issues, and you couldn't do it, and you put money into it. I'm asking, though, to make this house safe and also to make it so it's not an unsightly property. That's what's being brought forward today, because we do live in a community that does have rules, and the rules are, there is an unsightly rule, and we have listened to what you've said, and there is an order, potentially an order coming forward to demolish. Well, that's not what that's not what council would want to see happen. We don't want to see people's homes torn down, but if they're in such a state of disrepair and they're let to fall down, they have to be rectified, that issue. So, for today, we've had information brought forward to council as to the condition of the home. It's up to council now to decide what direction they want to go in as far as the amount of time they want to give to rectify the issue with the property. So.
Must it be livable or presentable? What's the act say, like this issue?
My concern is it's been 7 years. And I've had many calls. No offense, Michael, I've had many calls. And I have said to them, I want you to go talk to Alfred. As far as I know, he's trying. And that's not been my comment. But people's concerns have been going on for a long time. To me, it needs to it's got to be not presentable, it's got to be livable too. You can't have something that looks good, but then a good wind falls over. I'm concerned that way. I'm concerned that I'm concerned for their safety, I'm concerned for the neighbor's safety.
What neighbors would that be, Linda?
You got the neighbors right next to you, that they have a home right.
Is that the neighbors that dropped a sofa, a chair, a door, and their exit realty sign on my back lawn and then called you because it's messy?
Yeah. We got pictures of that.
I cannot tell you who calls me.
We don't have to.
That's beside the point, because I know who all three of them are.
Yeah, one of them happens to be my useless brother. Imagine that.
My experience has never been to think it is. I
And
I just wash them for a second.
He's coming home to burn it down.
Everything's cleaned up between around the trailer. Because
And
I
I
went
live
through
in
some
my
of these
camper
students.
around.
Well, yeah,
All
yeah,
cleaned
we'll
up.
need to
It's
see.
all, there's lumber on the front of the house, look, there's a picture of the inside front
I
wall.
wanna see your inside.
There's a picture of the interior center wall. The back has been lined up and everything. This pile of lumber right there is for your doorstep. Here it is mixed into my tall grass. I had a picture of the door as well, but it was gonna cost me
I'm not saying it's neighbors, I'm saying it's
It was
people.
gonna cost me $120 odd for pictures, so I just took these ones, where I cleaned up and everything.
Alright, take them to the warden next.
So I made a comment to Alfred about one of my neighbors having an old hay in his yard, and Alfred said it looked good to him.
The main concern at the start of this back in 2012 was make this pig look pretty and safe and slap some lipstick on it.
That's what you were told?
That's
Yes.
what,
By
basically what it boiled down to. The neighbors didn't like the sight of the front and the side of the house, and I will put it like this.
I find it safety that they're concerned
Put some
about.
makeup on the sides of the house facing your problems, and they will get off your back.
In 2012, if I remember correctly, we sat here,
My back, and it doesn't matter what I
And-
do,
Okay.
they will always bother me.
and I was asked, what is the minimum that has to be done?
You wanna pass it?
Not to save the house so much as it was to the minimum safety, fire lights, the safety issues in the house. Structurally, I remember we talked about an engineer, and then came down to, I was asked to complete a list of the minimum things that were needed to be done to put that 2012 demolition order to rest. It was done. There was 11 issues, I believe, 11 or 12, 11. I still had the list in my office. Those are the minimum. It was not, well, let's do the minimum, we'll forget about it. Because it was just the minimum to stop this. It was always the hope that then the continuance of making it into a home. So 7 years later, I'm back here, and that's my thing about it. And I sympathize. It doesn't, I'm not, but sometimes we can't do what we want to do. It's like, I don't know if Mike can actually, I know Mike may want to do the house, but that's a lot of money to fix that house. But it's somebody.
I
But-
earn that damn money and I'll spend it any way I want to. And if I want a dirt floor, I'll freaking have it. I can pioneer better than any of you fellas. Well, it's the truth.
Okay, we've got a,
I'll be maybe going over this a little bit, talk to the lawyer, and there's, additional evidence to look over, do you
I don't think at this point, after approaching a lawyer, there's no benefit for us to do that. We are proceeding as the act states us to do.
okay.
And that's what the judicial review would look at, and this is the process that we're following.
I hope you don't minutes.
She's gonna give me 90 days to have a completely, fully livable house.
That's retarded.
Knowing full well I had to gut the entire inside of the house to remove one wall to build it.
And I'm a disabled senior. How much money do you think I get to live
So
on?
you want me right now to go out in Mount Pleasant and start stripping the siding off of my house, put it in a neat little pile on a pallet out back, start stripping the roof off and take all my new planks out of my house? So you can come in and clean up what's left and leave me with a hole to cover.
the order would be to give you an opportunity to fix the house up. I believe that's what council would start with, and if it wasn't done, then it'd be an order to demolish. But if not, that would be the process that we would take. So And like Deputy Warden Gregory mentioned, 90 days is what we're allowed to do. So,
90 days is not long enough. I only get a check once a month, old age pension.
There's two different types of orders. One is, that is presented to us today, is the order to demolish. It's not an order to remedy, it's an order to demolish. That the house, or an order to demolish is that it is not considered repairable. So that's what's in front of us now. The council can either do that or not. Or, the other option would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Albert, an order to remedy, which would list certain things. So then it would be an order to remedy. And then if the remedy doesn't happen, as 7 years has gone by, then we'll just, it's either then, what are we looking at? An order to continue the remedy or an order to demolish. So
Is there a time limit on the order to remedy?
you can give, I think it's up to, I'm not sure what the act says in terms of time. It's usually 30, 45, or 60 days is what he's always done in order to remedy. Usually a remedy is very short-lived.
It's not a
make
year,
it
2
safe.
years, it's not an extended period of time.
Not, I mean, 90 days would be outside the norm, but I would be the maximum. So there's two issues. So the order to demolish is not, if you don't fix it up, we're going to demolish it. That's you, the property owner has the time, in whatever time frame, to demolish the building himself. The property owner can do that. If they don't do it by the time frame, then council or hires someone and goes in and does it. And then those bills get added to the tax. Same with the order to remedy, which is a different order, that, the property owner has to do X, Y, and Z by a certain time. If they don't do it, well, then you're looking at, does the municipality go in and then add those costs to the taxpayers or that property, and it becomes a lien. So don't confuse the two issues. It isn't, we'll tear it down if you don't do this. It's either the order to demolish, and that's where council has to approve those orders. Typically, an order to remedy doesn't require this step, right? The administrator of the dangerous and unsightly can indicate that this is what needs to be done. But typically, it's like fix the windows, repair the porch. It's a shorter list. This is a total almost rebuild. So it's a unique situation that's being presented here. I just want to make sure council is aware of the two processes.
And so, you don't feel it's repairable?
I'm not going through this route again. 2012, I was asking it to be repaired. Sure, anybody got $1 million, we can repair it. That's my trade. I'm a licensed carpenter. I would demolish that and build a new one. It'd be 50% cheaper than trying to fix that. I mean, there's absolutely nothing in that house. You walk in, you fall down in truth. It's gutted. No upstairs. I mean, it's a daunting job to fix it. I'm not going back into it. Can it be fixed? The thing is, I don't have enough money to fix it. Who has? I mean, I imagine somebody does, but the thing of it is, it's a
Fuck up or get out, Mom. Honest to God, I'm sorry, Albert.
I know, but it's the demolition part, and I've talked to Marjorie a few times, and I know what she said, and I understand what she's telling me. But I said, Marjorie, you need better than this. And I said, if in 2012, if we could have, there was help that people would give us to demolish this house, clean the property up, have a level spot. Environment was going to give them access to the existing septic system, which, because they had enough land in the back to fix it. If it did, we could have hauled in something could have been brought in. You could have built a smaller house for peanuts compared to what this is going to cost you, and you got something new. But now, didn't want that, wanted this one. They were going to fix it. Well, I just don't see it being fixed in the future, and not because of wanting it. I believe they really do. But they're like me, they just don't have the money. And I think that's where we're going to be years from now. And Mike talks about, well, he's put money in, and he has. But if we say, well, fix this and fix that, he'll spend another $8,000-10,000. And it won't be me next time. Whoever takes my job will be sitting here saying, well, here we are, 2023, 24, 5, whatever. And we're back again, I guess, because I don't know. But that's like I said, I'm not here wanting to demolish it.
I just want to make sure I understand. My other question is, to have the camper removed just means showing the demolition.
Yeah, that's all I meant. Yeah, I said, I guess, I don't know where to put it. I said, it has to be removed so everything can be cleaned up. And I said, when it's all cleaned up, I said, I guess it can be put back. I mean, I'm not totally hard to say. I don't know what else to do with it. I mean, it's I guess there's no other place to put it. And I would hope, and I've talked with Margie, a few times, more than a few times, and I said, we just got to get this thing clean. I said, people look at this as unsightly. I said, let's not make it unsightly. Let's not give them ammunition. I said, yeah, but I'm just totally lost of words of how to help anybody, and I knew eventually, I kept saying, somebody's going to come up with the papers signed, then I have to act. That's all I can do. And this is all I did. I acted, and I said, did the thing. But council can say, no, we'll change our mind if they want. They can turn this into a order to remedy, and you can make a list. So however you want to do it, it's your prerogative. But demolition is demolition.
Okay.
There's no need giving somebody 60 days to fix it up, or we demolish it, because I'm giving somebody false hope again.
In other words, we can give them 90 days to demolish it themselves, or then we come in.
Yes.
And that's the end would make money. Now, Mrs. Scarborough, Michael's wife, wanted to speak.
In 2012, Michael was told that if the building burnt down, it would have to have one corner left standing for them to rebuild on the site, because it was no longer a legal building site by Alfred. So if you tear it down, can you rebuild there or not?
Well, we have no,
Apparently not. We went over that.
That's why he was rebuilding, because
allowed to rebuild the house one piece at a time.
because it burnt down, it had that one corner standing, because it was not a legal building site anymore. So we tear it down, are we screwed? We can't build there.
I can't believe I would have said it that way, because, for lack of a better word, the grandfather clause, if your house burns down, you can build back on the same foundation, even though you're on a spot that big. Because it's a grandfather clause. It's burned down, you can build. You can't build another 60 feet on the side.
That still would be big enough for this, wouldn't it?
Well, the property that they're on, it goes deep. I can't imagine why you.
Septic isn't all you need.
I can't imagine why you wouldn't build.
That if it was torn
That
down,
was one of the problems back in
no way
2012 that we had to overcome, along with the sewer system. This guy, I'll go through it all again, this guy come out to the house to see if the house was fit to rebuild, and all he kept talking about was a stupid sewer system. So I went out, I said, okay, let's go talk about the sewer system. Did you guys fuck up my sewer system when you excavated the property next door because of an oil spill anyway?
It never got cleaned out. How come?
Because he didn't think I knew about it. So at that point, he quit talking about the sewer system, and we went in to talk about the house. And that was his decision, that the house at that time was fit to be built. And the property was not big enough to start on if the place was gone.
The only thing that would make a property not is a septic system. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
I remember speaking with Jacqueline Cook from Environment in Yarmouth, and she told me we'll accept the existing system to help them out. If that gets torn down and they want to rebuild or put something, I don't mean a mansion, but a decent sized home there, they use the same system.
But it is deep enough, there shouldn't be a problem with them rebuilding.
I mean, properties, you may have to put fire rated gyprock on me because you're getting close to property lines, but his property is big enough to build something. I don't know what he wants, what he would want to build, what size it is.
How old's your house, sir?
How old?
Yeah.
Got nothing to do with this. But it's
Well,
a lot,
actually, it kinda does,
Oh,
but I'm going in a long way about it. Did your grandfather build your home, or did you buy it from someone else who already had it built and you have to renovate it?
no, I didn't have to renovate a building.
You got your home and bought it, and you don't have to do anything to it. Well, here's the thing. Whether I start a house from scratch, or whether I rebuild the house that is there, it's all gonna cost the same amount of money. A 2x6 is still $8.97. It doesn't matter if the whole house is gone, I gotta buy $20,000 worth of lumber, or whether parts of the house are still there, I still have to buy $20,000 worth of lumber. It's not that this is gonna cost me any more or less to go at it this way or this way, it's still gonna cost the same to have a whole new house.
But what we're saying right now, there should be no reason why we cannot rebuild on there, Michael. Listening to our, building inspector on the other side as well, so, and I feel after all this time, and I feel bad, that the best thing is not to throw big money in on something that needs to be a complete
It
remedy.
makes perfectly sense to me too, Linda, to not throw good money away, and that's what I got good money in a roof and
But,
two
okay,
walls here and two walls there, so
so you're telling me though.
we're gonna tear this down and get rid of everything, and I'm still gonna have one west wall, one east wall, and part of the roof and floor.
That you wanna save that lumber, you mean?
Well, even if you get rid of all of that, this year I have enough money for one wall. It's gonna be unsafe. Next year I got enough money to build the other end wall and the outcrop. I
And
still
it's still
have,
not gonna be safe.
I'm beginning to wonder if I even want this piece of property out there because all my neighbors are assholes.
I can't answer that, but I
I'm
personally
gonna look into what it takes to put a
say that
camper
I,
in there.
would go with have the camper here in the house demolished along, and have to clean up with all junk, debris, and garbage located over the entire property. Am I allowed to add with 90 days? Is that?
Yeah, you can add, yes, yeah.
I would want,
You're making the motion?
I'm making that a motion.
Well, if that's your decision, I'll have my lawyer file an injunction tomorrow and I'll give you all the day.
Do we have a seconder for the motion?
Well, I ain't saying no to you.
Any more questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion?
But I was gonna say, I really feel that what Alfred had to say, we had to listen to.
You're gonna end up sinking more and more money in it.
I don't want him to do that, because now.
It's not cost analysis, it's a really simple task.
And I feel bad, because we're good people.
I mean, if you look at that house, it talks about a roof, there's no roof, there's tar paper with strapping on it, there's no roof. Inside is hollow. He's got some doors and windows that can be taken out.
And dormers.
And so on, and save the material, and start from scratch, a few 2x6s, and you've got the frame and you put truss roof, you can move along and get something new. And then you can do that, and then you can work on it as you're going, because you've got something underneath of you that isn't rotten.
Yeah.
There's no need trying to bail your boat if it's full of holes.
Yeah, I think.
Building a nice cabin on top of it ain't helping the holes in the boat.
But I feel bad.
That's where the money should be put.
But I also don't want to throw good money after bad.
No, it's, no.
Excuse me, but whose money is it? It's not coming out of your pocket, Linda, or Alfred's, or any of you. It's my freaking money. I worked all my fucking life and I earned it, and I'll spend it any way I want to.
I agree.
You're happy, right? And if it means putting it into that house, we've already been down this road. You can't tear it down and rebuild, there's not enough land. But you can fix what's there, and what's there is fixable.
You're being told that you can rebuild on there.
Yeah, right, well, you put it in writing and send it to Kyle Williams. And when he sends you back a letter for $30-40 million, you better hope the county's got it. 'Cause that's what we're going for.
Okay.
When's pay week? I gotta get paid for that bill comes in. Get paid that week, pay that.
I feel bad.
I know,
Okay.
anyway, that's,
That was a tough one.
I think.
Well, I feel kind of bad, like we made the wrong decision in the first place, and they sunk a bunch more money, and we all ended up in the same situation. Yeah.
You wanna say something?
Now it's my turn.
Oh.
Hello.
Sorry for.
And who are you? And who are you?
You don't remember me? I wave at you when you drive
Oh,
by.
yes, but,
Across.
okay, yes.
Sir, just wait a minute, like, to keep things going the way they're supposed to go for the meeting, like, we can ask you at the end of our meeting if you have any questions or concerns.
I think it's just to do with this property.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I think we should hear from him.
Okay.
I apologize, I do that every time to this man.
Okay.
Start dressing the same.
Sorry?
Start dressing the same.
Yeah. My name is Kurt Husenstein. I live across from that property. And what I want to say, when he started rebuilding the house, he has no idea what he is doing. The front wall is nowhere connected on the ground. The roof, when you do the roof, you cut the notch in so the roof can slide down. No notch, nothing. The building is rotten like hell. And since she lives up there, we have rats. I have to catch raccoons. And another thing, that woman is so nasty to us. She calls us all kind of stuff. She's showing us the finger when we drive by. She is just trouble.
Well, thank you for your comments on that.
You're welcome.
So,
So in other words, you're saying you're happy with what we just did?
Nobody's ever
That-
happy with anything.
I just want to say that property should be torn down, and she has to get out of there.
Well, that's what we just did.
She has troubles everywhere.
But they have 90 days to get it, they can do it themselves.
Okay. Thank you.
But it will be done.
Okay, good.
So thank, and I apologize again. That's
Thanks,
3
Alfred.
times.
Thank you.
okay, the next item on the agenda was business items, British Home Children Beacons of Light. And I read that through, and,
Is there a way that we could do something?
well, we can do like we did when we turned the lights out front purple. We could do red, white, and blue.
Okay.
So,
Interesting thing.
I so moved that we, for our lights, especially on September the 28th.
I'll second it.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
So would we do it just through the whole month of September type thing?
Yeah, it wouldn't be year round.
But I'm just saying, because the big day is the 28th of September.
Right.
So we could do it through the whole month of September. Then that way, you know.
British Home Children. Get them out of the house.
Well, I think it would be better to do it starting on that day and run it for a month,
Oh, okay, whichever.
rather than starting it before the day.
Oh, all right, because I thought it was something about September being the month, but it doesn't matter. That's why
It's September, no, it says September 28th is commemorated nationally. So it doesn't say anything about the month there. It just says September the 28th, but if you want to,
I'd like to see us do it for a month.
well, then we should start it on that day.
Okay.
That would be the day to recognize.
Looks good.
Okay.
And
So-
can we put that on our Facebook page so people know?
Sure.
And our webpage?
Yeah, of Holland,
wonder
born in
how-
Canada, and they,
Okay, we're going to move on here. We've got correspondence and information items, and we've got 2 letters from the Friends of Farrells. for thanking us, and one from the Digby Coral High Seas. And you also see a letter there from the Nova Scotia Attorney General of Justice, letter to the CAOs regarding the, in latter day, like in layman's terms, the Boots on the Street program. So, saying that they're going to continue the program.
The minister was talking that way at the time. He was saying he thought it was the best program around.
It's a good program, but there was rumors that they might have changed, not did away with it, but changed the program and centralized the program. So we raised concerns about that, and so anyway, so I'm just glad that that didn't go forward. There's no in camera for tonight, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Oh, God's not to see till September.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh, no, to your wife. Because I'm dropping off, Warren. I was dropping the kids off for the overnight camp.
Okay,
They're excited.
like what they did, they must have did this